I think we're live. Let's see, just to make sure. Yep, we are live. Hi, everyone. And I hope your morning or afternoon or evening is going well and as planned. So, we have yet another topic for this webinar that is going to be similar to other discussions that we've had previously. One of them, of course, is AI, and as mentioned, that there are things that are concerning regarding the um, rapid growth of the viruses, the ransomwares, and the security threats that are happening. So we had an idea of combining AI, which is also rapid in growth, and um, ransomwares and other threats that are concerning in today's IT world. So, as a matter of fact, our topic is going to be AI and ransomware, evolving threats, smarter defenses, and we're just going to be discussing both of the points and just going through all of that. So, ransomware is not just growing, but it's evolving, and of course, that is an unfortunate type of news coming from me. Ransomware attacks occur every 11 seconds. So, what does that mean? That means that every time an email that is sent to a corporate account or corporate email mailbox, there is a great amount of chances that the email, which is the uh, targeted, most of the times it's a targeted email, will be opened by the recipient, and that will trigger the chain attack, which will also lead to other consequences and data losses and other company related losses. So if you consider that every 11 seconds there is a chance of that happening, imagine throughout the year, throughout the month of the exposed data coming in and out from over the internet and over the world, as a matter of fact. The average ransom payment increased by 58% in 2023. What that also means is that once the computer or the device gets exposed to a ransomware attack, the computer and all of the data that is within the storage gets encrypted with the ransomware virus. And that means that whatever data that you had in the computer, it will get encrypted by the ransomware attack or the virus. And the way that the attackers ask you to pay is through Bitcoins or any other non-popular payment method in order for them not to be caught. Most of the cases, it will be done through uh, Bitcoin or other similar ways of payment. And supposedly, once that happens, once you make the transaction, they will provide you with the key that you will use to decrypt the information and the data and the storage that you have been compromised with. So, most of the cases that happens, but there are also cases where the attackers take the money and just disappear by blocking the user or never getting in contact ever again. So it's still a risk either way, but maybe if you really consider that the data is, matter of fact, worth of saving, then you could give it a shot. But of course, the best way to prevent it is not to interact with these emails at all in the first place. So that is the main goal that we all need to make sure is followed. But again, if it's something that already happened, then the chances of the data recovery at this point are 50-50. The reason that it's 50-50 is because you don't know if the attacker will actually provide you with the key that is dependent on these files, and the files, as a matter of fact, will not be usable unless if they are decrypted with the key. So that is one thing to note. And then if the ransomware is a known type, which means that it was recently released, but it was already analyzed, and someone from any cybersecurity related organization or community has already deciphered the encryption key, then the chances are that you will be able to find the decryption key over the internet. So if it's a known ransomware and if it's a well popular ransomware that was roaming around the internet for a while, then the chances are that you will be able to find the decryption key and restore your data. However, if it's a really new, fresh out of the wild ransomware, then the chances are very slim on doing that, and you would have to go into the payment method. So, ransomware as a service has lowered the barrier to entry, creating more attackers on that hand as well. But that is where AI is coming into play. And unfortunately, again, is that it has its downside and it uses a dual use technology. The reason being is that it can benefit the attackers, which is not good for the users and corporates. And on the other hand, it can benefit the defenders. So for attackers, the AI automates and enhances every stage of the attack chain, making attacks faster, more targeted, and harder to detect. It makes it much more smarter and makes it much more dynamic in a way that a simple script would not be a competition to the one that AI would create. Matter of fact, it would actually be very adjustable to whatever environment or target it's being launched to. So it's kind of a very dangerous situation most of the cases. But of course, if AI is evolving for the bad side, it's also equally evolving for the good side. So we have that perfect balance as well. Now, for the defenders, AI processes massive volumes of data to identify subtle patterns, predict attacks, and respond at the machine speed. That means that AI on the defender side will try to analyze each and every um, perspective that it's been given to and adjust and adapt to the attacks that happen on daily basis. So there are a lot of companies which are cybersecurity oriented, and they are using newly stacks which are AI powered. In this case, I could bring an example to Barracuda. Barracuda is using AI powered technology where they're able to deploy AI agents to test and analyze the mailboxes of the tenant. For reference, the Microsoft tenant. So the way the agent works is that it will go through each mailbox, potentially looking for anything that will be suspicious. It's not going to analyze all of the other emails, but it's only going to look for the criterias and adjust to the modern or up to date risks that might be occurring. So in that case, the AI agents go through the mailbox. If they see that there is something sketchy that Microsoft was not able to determine and flag as spam or phishing, then that's where it steps in. That's where it notifies the user. And matter of fact, it blocks that email coming in and actually being in the mailbox itself. So there are many ways of how AI will be adjusting for defending side, and of course, it will be doing the same thing for the attacker side. But of course, there's also a balance that will also be maintained on frequent basis, as far as both sides continue doing the same thing. We'll always have the balance, but hopefully the balance will be more towards the defender side, and we get it more up to the points for defenders. So, part one, the evolving threat, and that is currently what is happening at the time we speak right now. So, have you ever wondered on how attackers use AI? like for phishing and social engineering? Well, there's a couple of ways that they do it, and they adjust the uh, payload, or you might say the trap, to the email or to the target in such a way that it will be very hard for the recipient to determine. So, how do they do it? They can use AI generated content, which will be perfectly written emails with no grammatical errors. The past takeaways or the red flags of those phishing emails were that there were a lot of grammatical errors. And right now, given that AI is helping a lot with content generation, the attackers are just using the AI generated emails, and that kind of ensures that there are no grammatical errors. But then again, there are still red flags that the user can notice if they are well experienced. There are a lot of takeaways in terms of, the content can be repetitive. It can give the sense of being AI generated. There are a lot of um, key terms in the sentences that will give it away. And others can be deepfake audio, video. Like, let's suppose that you were waiting for an email from your boss and you receive it indeed, but that turns out to be not your boss, but it ends up being an impersonation of your boss. So let's suppose that you are communicating on Telegram or iMessage or on WhatsApp, and you get a voice message received. Although it's coming from a strange number, you still give it a shot and you play the video or the audio and you say, hey, this is actually my boss. But no, it's not. Right. So, given that it's coming from a strange number, that's already a red flag. But then the audio impersonating or the video that it's impersonating can be so believable that you might as well ignore the first point and just um, might as well fall into the risk of continuing with what was requested from the attacker, trying to sound like your boss or your colleague or whoever it is. That is one more kind of a risky way of getting falling into the trap. Personalized lures. So AI scrapes social media, LinkedIn, Twitter to create compelling targeted messages. And in that way, you also need to be careful about what you share over the social media. It's always been the fact. It's not just because of AI. This has always been the golden rule of social media. Whatever you post on social media is always going to be on social media, even if you delete it, because there are tools that can be used to scrap or scrape the information from archives or from backups that were doing it before the time that you have deleted the content. So be very careful and think twice before posting on social media. And it's not really just social media, it can be anything like over the chats, over the groups. Be always on alert on what you're sharing, because once you push the send button, you are not guaranteed that you will uh, just completely turn that content off or delete that content. So be very careful about what you're sharing in public. And of course, all of this results in higher success rates for the initial breach. So all of it, if especially combined, will be a very successful attempted breach. Like if it's sent to a CEO, if it's sent to accounts payable or someone from finance, that will be uh, a successful initial breach. So you always have to be on alert. So there are many phishing trends, and some of them can be that the attackers are using is targeting financial institutions, deceptive link dominations, brand impersonation, AI-driven phishing, and ransomware via phishing. So all of this is being done in a chain reaction, you could say. and it's generally called intelligent reconnaissance. So what it does is that it generates the information, it it scraps the information that is publicly widely available or got available because of a breach to by a platform that was breached already. Like, let's say you've subscribed to a service and that service had their databases breached and the data exposed because you've already had a subscription with them. For example, you've had your first name, last name, your credit card information, all of that. If their database got exposed and breached, then your information is also on the public side, which means that it can be on dark web, it can be on other websites. Most of the cases that data is being sold, if it's very valuable, it's going to end up being in the dark web. As far as we go for AI, AI bots can automatically map a network, identify high value targets like databases, backups, and locate security gaps faster than any human at the moment. And more of the um, downside is that it would do it on stable kind of frequencies, not just one day it's doing it like for a short amount of time and then it'll take some breaks and do that and so on and so forth. But it will do it frequently, will do it on stable manners. As far as we go for advanced evasion, so we can talk about polymorphic and metamorphic code, which in this case, AI generates unique evolving malware variants for each target bypassing static signature based antivirus tools. And then for behavioral mimicry, malware learns to mimic normal user or system behavior to hide in plain sight. So as I mentioned earlier, that it's doing it in chain reaction or many steps that depend on each one of them. The first one, of course, is being the reconnaissance. That's where AI-powered data scraping is happening for target. Um, the AI agents are launched to basically get any information that is widely available for the target. They extract it, they collect it, they put it in one place, and then the second thing comes in, and that is going to be the weaponization, where AI creates polymorphic malware payloads customized for the target, ensuring that whatever the target or the database has the vulnerabilities of, like let's suppose that the database center and the server that is controlling that database has not been updated with latest patches, it might be more vulnerable for that. So the payloads that it will be customized on will attack those potential weaknesses of the system. For delivery, AI crafted phishing emails. So let's suppose that we've collected the information, we've got the payloads that we're going to attack with. Now is going to be the delivery way. So we just need to deliver all of what we've gathered, and how we're going to deliver that. The best option would be to send an email that will be customized or will be adjusted to the target. Like, let's suppose that you're sending it to the finance team, you would have to customize the email to the point that it's believable, and the finance team would not really catch it as a red flag, and so on and so forth. So that's the delivery step. The other step would be exploitation and installation. So once we deliver the payload, once we are with the target and the target just thinks that we are indeed a green flag, they let us in. It's similar to how the Trojan situation is. You let the Trojan in, and the Trojan will begin with the next step, and that is the exploitation and installation. So AI finds vulnerabilities and evades detection. It goes and bypasses any type of checks because the human already confirmed that they are good to go. So the other and before the last step is command and control. So AI algorithm manages C2 communications stealthily, and finally is actions. So once we have everything, once we've gathered all, we made sure that our payloads have been bypassed by the security checks and by the humans, as a matter of fact. Now is the time to take actions on objectives and our targets. So, in this case, what AI does, it accelerates encryption and exfiltrates data selectively. So, whoever was our target, or what was our target, the database or the CEO, whoever it was, the attacker will start the chain reaction of the whole operation, which was reconnaissance, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, command and control, and finally is the execution of all the plan that they had in mind. So you always have to just keep in mind that this is the whole kind of operation going on every time that there is a data breach happening. So it's not just happening out of nowhere. It's a planned attack most of the cases. If the target is crucial for the attackers, they will try their best to infiltrate and make it a successful breach. So part two, smarter defenses and the AI powered shield. In this case scenario, it's going to be the defender's advantage and scaling with AI. Human analysts are overwhelmed by alerts, and that means that humans might miss some of the alerts here and there, but that's understandable because we might as well um, put ourselves into the alerts that might be coming in and out on daily basis, 200s, 300s alerts. That depends on the corporation and the IT sector that is handling that. So imagine if it's a multi-billionaire type of a company, you would receive alerts much more than a small business because you are controlling a whole tenant worth of 5,000, 10,000s of users. So, of course, in that case, you would receive much more alerts. So, in this case, what happens is that threat intelligence processing, that's where AI comes in and helps us out. It analyzes millions of threat indicators globally in real time, and then automated triage, where AI prioritizes real threats from false positives, reducing alert fatigue by up to 90%. What happens in this case is that, let's suppose that you are running a Microsoft tenant, you are the administrator, and suppose that Microsoft's Defender skipped some of the alerts. And if you're trying to deploy or already have a third party deployment like Barracuda, for example, you've deployed the XDR service. In this case, for them, it's the AI automation that will help you out on determining if the email that was bypassed by Microsoft Defender is indeed a false positive or it needs a second look into. For predictive analytics, that's where you identify vulnerabilities likely to be exploited before attackers can even target them. So, user and entity behavior analytics, that's where AI establishes a behavioral baseline for every user and device. And in this case, this is a very beautiful system. This is where AI agents or the deployed XDR service comes into play. It makes sure that all the AI agents that are deployed for the tenant, they adjust to the user's behavior. So let's suppose that user A opens the emails from someone called John Smith at gmail.com, and it does it on daily basis, and it checks the logs that this was the trustworthy sender. Then it actually believes and makes sure that it doesn't block any further coming emails, right? So let's suppose that the user does not access any emails or mailboxes um, after 3 a.m., for example, or if the user doesn't really access it for at a very early time, like let's suppose before the shift hours. In this case, the AI agent can actually also um, adapt and find those logs to be anomalous activities because the user does not actually do it on frequent basis. They don't do it regularly. So in case if the user was breached and there is an activity happening at the specific user that someone logged into the mailbox or the user account at 3 a.m. where the user does not actually do it at all, in this case, this activity will be flagged as anomalous activity and it will be blocked most of the cases. Again, that's depending on the customized AI agents. So again, just to wrap it up, it will adapt to the user, to each and every user and their behavior, just to make sure that they're as safe as it's possible to do so, to keep them from phishing emails and from social engineering that's targeted for them. And as far as we go for network traffic and anal- anal- analysis for AI models, and it detects subtle malicious patterns in network flow data that indicate lateral movement or data exfiltration. So what this means is that once it's combined with user and entity behavior analysis and network traffic analysis, all of this too is combined to make sure that the user is protected from phishing as much as possible. So kind of makes it very you could say dummy proof and safe to use apart from what Microsoft Defender is doing. Now we also have automated incident responses. That's in case if the user was indeed breached for some reason. AI can automatically isolate infected endpoints, block malicious IPs, and shut down unauthorized process within milliseconds. And after that, it will have the enhanced backup and recovery. So AI can help ensure backup integrity by detecting anomalies and can orchestrate faster recovery processes. So the third step being is that the deception technology AI creates and manages sophisticated dynamic honeypots that adapt to lure and detect attackers once the user has been breached. So it saves it and makes sure that it doesn't happen again, and it adapts further on. It updates the database that, hey, this phishing email was indeed risky and the user was breached because of it. Make sure not to do it ever again. In how to start leveraging AI in your defense strategy. And there are many options that you could leverage. So first is being the assesses and prioritization. Identify your crown jewels. Where would ransomware hurt the most? Is it finance department? Is it leadership department? Is it the lower department? Like let's say um, anything below finance, anything below leadership, management, it could be any of it. You have to identify how many users have been targeted in each department, and by doing the evaluation, you will understand where to focus the most on the departments. The second thing is augment and don't replace. So integrate AI tools with your existing security stack like SIEM, EDR, or email gateways. Don't get rid of what you're already doing or have deployed unless if it's really outdated. But if it's not outdated, like something like Microsoft Defender, if you are integrating something like a third-party service like Barracuda or Avanan for reference, you should not cancel Microsoft Defender's tenant subscription. As a matter of fact, you need to get an additional service like something of Barracuda or Avanan or any other cybersecurity related service. So focus on key use cases like email security, implement AI-powered phishing detection, or endpoint protection, like deploy next gen antivirus or EDR with behavioral AI. Network monitoring, use AI for anomaly detection. And finally, invest in people. Upskill your team to work with AI tools. Make sure that they're profound in the latest technologies, especially the IT admins or your IT help desk, making sure that they're well acquainted with what's happening all over the world with the AI attacks. or how to protect the organization, how to use the AI tools to better protect yourself and your tenant, and making sure that you are up to date and up to standards with the protection methods. The human machine partnership is key. You must not replace human, and you cannot expect the AI or AI agents to do the way they would as a human. So, what you would need to focus on is doing the partnership. So, consider AI and AI agents or anything related to AI as a tool, not as a replacement to a human, because that will never go well on that hand. So, what's next in the AI cybersecurity arm race? There are a couple of points, like generative AI adversaries, like more sophisticated phishing and social engineering at an emerging scale, happening very, very rapidly. AI on AI attacks, like attackers using AI to find weaknesses in AI powered defense models. So, AI can very much so be the exposure itself, it can be the weakness itself. So, it's kind of a pick your poison thing. You use AI, but then at the same time, AI can be your enemy as well because it might be prone to other AIs and other attacks that another AI is deploying on it. Autonomous response, so self healing networks that can predict and neutralize threats without human intervention, which is a very good thing. You don't need a lot of human interaction in that case because those are time critical responses. But at the same time, you need to make sure that a human controls them just to make sure that everything is on track. The critical factor, data quality. So the effectiveness of your AI defense depends on the quantity and quality of data it learns from. If it's having a lot of experience to work with, keep in mind AI is learning. It's a machine learning system. It needs to learn from something. It cannot recreate something without having a background or context. That's the that's the beautiful thing about the human creativity and human mind. Human can come up with something that does not exist in most of the cases, or at least it uses inspiration from other factors, but not as much as the AI. AI is purely on learning from past experiences, from past information, and basically trying to reiterate something that it's learned from in a more customized way. Although it's still going to be similar to what it has the information of, but the beauty of it is that it can combine the goods into one. So that's kind of the way you would structure your mind and how AI works. So you need to keep in mind that the threat is real. Cybercriminals are actively using AI to create more effective and evasive ransomware. AI is a force multiplier. So for defenders, AI is essential to keep pace in automating detection and response. Now, adoption is a journey. So start with specific use cases like phishing detection and endpoint protection, making sure that your staff members, your admins, are up to date with the information that they need to possess and have. Humans are still in the loop and will be, and it's most likely to be the case on a long journey. So AI provides the speed and scale, and human experts provide the context and strategy and control. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. And of course, prepare now. You don't have a lot of time to think about it. You either go to the AI race and join, or you will be left behind and you will be more vulnerable to the exposures that are happening on daily basis. So now is the best way and the best time to enroll your stack and enroll your corporate tenant with AI powered tools, upgrade it, enhance it with more intelligent softwares that can protect you and your information, your data, your endpoint, and of course, the customer information, which is the most critical. Okay, in this case, we have wrapped up with our presentation. I hope that everyone had a chance of learning or getting a reminder from any of these slides or anything that we've discussed. As a matter of fact, AI is rapidly growing. In some cases, it's a scary kind of growth, but we all adapt, and um, humans are adapted to adapt. So that's a fun thing about the human brain and the psychology. So that's it. Thank you guys. I will see you in the next webinar. But until then, I hope you all enjoyed and learned something. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. My name was Amir, and